What if Doom Guy was never given Davos's power in the Divinity Machine? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the question I pose to you, or what we will be trying to discuss today in this episode of What If Doom. Yeah, that's not what it's called. So to give a little context, we're going to need to actually talk about what the original events were revolving around the Divinity Machine and the Doomslayer. But I'm going to have to say a spoiler warning now, because I will be talking about the Ancient Gods Part 2, like Codex lore. Even though the game's been out for a while now, I'm still going to play it on the cautious side and say, like, if you don't want to know anything about it, don't watch the video. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the sort of juicy bits, but they'll be for about, I don't know, a couple of minutes or so. But you have been warned. Spoiler warning. So, in the original event, Davos was the first created, and he's the one who created the Makers. The Makers weren't created by the Father, because they basically were created by the Father. The Father was Davos, not Vega. But we can get into that in a bit. So, the Father, or Davos, created the Maker race because he wanted to find immortality and create it to give it to his own people. But the Makers found that a immortality of such given to Davos would be dangerous, so they betrayed him. And henceforth, the first creation that Davos made became the Father. And basically, the Makers sort of rewrote history, kicking out Davos as being the creator and giving it to Vega instead. And so we come to the event of the Doom Eternal, where the Doom Guy, who would then become the Doom Slayer, would arrive at Sentinel Prime after the events of Doom 64. Now, at this time, Davos, being trapped in a soul sphere in the Inmore Sanctum located atop the Blood Swamps, was still able to influence people. He was still powerful enough to do that. And he influenced the Khan Maker, creating this sort of legend or prophecy of one who would come to destroy the Makers and the race itself, which technically did come true, but only because Davos sort of put the motions in plan for the events to transpire. So, basically, he told the Khan Maker that there would be this one being who would destroy the race and her, and told her to create the Divinity Machine, which would, what he in quotes says, will find the one responsible, and you can sort of stop him before anything happens. Now, what he also told the Khan Maker was to find an object and implant it into the Divinity Machine. She not realizing it was Davos' power, which would then eventually give the Doom Guy the power when Hayden would take him there, or the Seraphim would take him there during the Battle of Terras Nabad, which would be where the legend of the Slayer sort of began. And so basically the events would play out as they would in 2016, where the Slayer would go to Urdact and kill the Khan Maker, but by going to Urdact the way he did, he'd break the Holy Seal of Urdact, allowing the demons to go and pass through Urdact as they pleased. Basically, in theory, destroying Urdact and getting revenge on the Khan Maker and the Makers, which is what Davos wanted in the first place. And now we come to where the what if part of the video would come into play. Now, I've gone through this in my head a few times, and I'd actually keep the majority of the story up to Terras Nabad the same. So, basically, the Doom Guy would stay in hell after the events of Doom 64, after killing the mother demons, staying behind, killing a buttload of demons, being badly injured by his fight with the demons, and then finding his way to Sentinel Prime, where some guards would find him and take him to the priests, where the priests would then say, take him to the arena, and he'll prove his worth to be on the front lines with the Sentinel army. As of course, he would prove that he could do it. He would defeat all combatants in the arena, and he would basically be put onto the front lines. But in this timeline scenario, the Khan Maker and the Seraphim are not persuaded by the Dark Lord. And because they are not persuaded by the Dark Lord, the Khan Maker does not give the orders to create the Divinity Machine or find the power orb of the Dark Lord and put it in so the Slayer could become powerful. Now, there's a few consequences on the timeline of 2016 and Eternal, which I'll get into in a minute. So as I said, everything would sort of be the same. The Doom guy would fight on the front lines with the Sentinels. He would always return, the only one to return from fighting the demons. He would be, King Novik would be like, right, train him in the ways of our arts. That would go all there. And then we come to where the demons would attack Terrace Nabad. Now, in the original timeline, this is where the Legend of the Slayer would become. Because the Dark Lord would tell the Sama Maker, or the Seraphim, or Dr. Hayden, as we now know, take the outcast to the Divinity Machine, give him my power, and he will not only stop the demons, but stop the Khan Maker from destroying all reality. So he was playing both the Khan Maker and Hayden off against each other. Now, in the original timeline, he would take the Doom Slayer, or the Doom Guy, to the Divinity Machine, create it, and empower him, because what was basically happening is the power was inverted. So instead of giving the person power, it was taking power away, or turning them mad, basically. Once this happens, and the power surge is gone the other way, the power would be taken in by the person inside the Divinity Machine, being the Doom Guy, becoming the Doom Slayer. You know all this already. But not this time. Without a Divinity Machine, that's it. There can't be a Slayer. Now, as we know, the way that the Slayer became a legend is by defeating the Titan that was attacking the city with his Crucible. He has his Crucible. He does not have the strength or the will or the power of the Dark Lord to actually kill or basically put the Titan into stasis with his Crucible. Now, the Doom Guy would still rally hope among the what's left of the Sentinel army and the Sentinel people, because he would still fight the demons as he had done originally. But in this scenario, he would die. He would die when the demons would overpower him and the Titan would kill him where he stood by literally just stepping on him. It's like steps. He's dead. The Doom Guy gone, relatively the only person that could actually stop the demons themselves. The demons had free reign over Sentinel Prime. The Sentinel people did not have the experience as the Doom Guy did. He'd been fighting the demons since the Mars attack, the Phobos, Earth, back again to Mars. Nobody had the experience that the Doom Guy did, and with the Doom Guy gone, no one could do it. And as I said earlier in the video, there were consequences for the events of 2016 and Eternal. Without the Slayer being imprisoned in hell and then being woken by Samuel Hayden on Mars, the demons went to Mars and they destroyed everything. I don't even think they would need Olivia Pierce at that point, because there's nobody there to stop them. Technically Argent would be there, but it wouldn't be in the capacity that we now know it as. The events of 2016, Earth would basically be destroyed. The Ark would not have been created by Hayden, because there was no need for Hayden to leave with the Father, because there was just no need. So Hayden and the Makers would eventually probably die out from not being able to go anywhere, because the Dark Lord would not allow them to deal, because they didn't listen. With that, this Earth and this dimension would be destroyed just like the original Earth would be in the Doom Guy's homeworld. And that is it. Well, that's what I think would happen anyway. This was my take on what the events would be if the Divinity Machine had never been created at all. Now, there are a few things that I could then probably put in to be like, well, maybe there is a different version of the Doom Marine or Doom Guy that would still be on Earth and could probably do something like an event of Doom 1, 2, and 64. But we don't know that. We just don't know what that would be. That's probably for another video, but for this video we're going to end it here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what your opinions and theories are. Would this be a plausible alternate dimension where he would die, or he would still be able to defeat the Titan even without the power? Who knows? But I do hope you've enjoyed this episode of a Doom video, and I will see you all next time.